Breaking news coming out of the 9/11 case, one involving Abu Zubaydah and his torture at the hands of the CIA and CIA black sites. And also, UK Supreme Court rules in favor of Guantanamo detainee. This is December 20th. Britain's top court ruled Wednesday that a Guantanamo detainee waterboarded by the CIA can use English law in his claim against the UK government over alleged complicity in torture. Now, a little bit about Abu Zubaydah. Abu Zubaydah was a trainee at the Khaldian training camp, which was run by Sheikh Ibn al-Libi, the man who the CIA and Egyptian intelligence tortured to force a confession that Iraq and al-Qaeda were procuring chemical and biological weapons, which was untrue. Abu Zubaydah was captured, and one of the first al-Qaeda members to be captured by the CIA in Pakistan. He was handed over to the FBI, and then the CIA took over and immediately tortured him. And we're going to get to that in a minute and talk about certain things about Abu Zubaydah. Abu Zubaydah was the first of a number of prisoners to be subjected to the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques following the September 11th attacks on the United States. Saudi-born Palestinian, whose full name is Zine al-Abidin Mohammed Hussein, was captured in Pakistan in 2002 and has been held without trial at the U.S. Guantanamo camp in Cuba since 2006. Zubaydah was waterboarded 83 times, suffered other physical abuse, according to a U.S. Senate report, which said that the CIA conceded he was never a member of al-Qaeda and not involved in the planning of the 9/11 attacks. I'm going to read you that article that came out in 2006 by Washington Post regarding that, just to show you. Zubaydah claims that the British government is viciously liable for multiple wrongs against him, including conspiracy to injure, false imprisonment, and negligence. He is seeking personal damages for injuries, which he says were sustained during interrogation at CIA black site facilities in Thailand, Poland, Morocco, Lithuania, Afghanistan, as well as Guantanamo. Zubaydah does not argue that UK forces were involved in his capture rendition to the facilities present during his mistreatment. But he does claim that Britain's domestic and overseas intelligence agencies, the MI5 and MI6, were aware that he was being subjected to torture, and even sent numerous questions to the CIA for the purpose of eliciting information from him. The UK government is neither admitted nor denied that they knew where Zubaydah was being held at any given time, or that they were aware of his treatment, arguing they cannot do so for national security reasons, which is bullshit, because we are well past that now. There are no CIA black sites that we know of, and the whole war on terror is null and void. This information should be declassified. It's now part of the historical record. What they don't want to show you is that they knew, because some of these people that were tortured can be held, can hold these governments civilly liable. That's why they stamp these documents classified for the next 30, 40 years, because by then everyone's dead. It was argued that the laws of the 6 countries where Zubaydah was held should apply to the case, but the UK Supreme Court upheld an earlier Court of Appeal ruling that the laws of England and Wales apply. A majority of justices ruled that there are substantial factors which connect the allegations to the United Kingdom. Zubaydah has also sued Poland over his treatment there. In March last year, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against his request that 2 psychologists who ran the CIA's interrogation of suspects at 9/11 testify in that case, and that's James Mitchell and Bruce Jessen, the architects of the SEER program, the Enhanced Interrogation Technique program. Now, an old article I told you about, I brought it up numerous times in the past. I'll make myself just disappear for a second. This is Washington Post, January 16, 2009. CIA says it misjudged role of high-value detainee Abu Zubaydah. Transcript shows an al-Qaeda associate captured by the CIA and subjected to harsh interrogation techniques, and said his jailers later told him they had mistakenly thought he was the number 3 man in the organization's hierarchy and a partner of Osama bin Laden, according to newly released excerpts from a 2007 hearing. They told me, sorry, we discovered that you are not number 3, not a partner, not even a fighter, said Abu Zubaydah, speaking in broken English, according to the new transcript of a combatant status review tribunal held at the U.S. military commission in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Why is he still there? because he's considered a forever detainee. Like I said, in November 2001, this is why it's important to know this, White House legal counsel, under the orders of probably Vice President Dick Cheney, because Bush was vacationing at this time, conveniently, because all the pressure falls on him, and knew that he doesn't react well to pressure, well, Dick Cheney does. There's a running joke in Washington at the time that if Dick Cheney died, Bush could become president. Tells you who ran things. White House legal counsel wrote in November 2001 the memorandum regarding who is labeled a terrorist and that the Geneva Conventions do not apply, and that the military commissions would be held at the Guantánamo Bay prison camp just outside the United States, but technically still United States government property, far away from federal court, because federal courts have law where we have to abide by in terms of a quick trial, trial by jury, trial by judge. Whereas a Guantanamo trial doesn't have these things. Military trial could go on forever, which is what they want, because they know after torturing these people, all the charges regarding Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, Abu Zubaydah, Ramzi bin al-Shib, Tawfiq bin Atash Khalad, they can't stick. Imagine them walking out, how the outrage would be, considering that the United States government was a total fuck-up and covered up its crimes. And not only that, covered up the pre-intelligence, which is the reason why I, ad nauseum, I report on pre-intelligence, because this is the make or break case for 9/11. What did domestic and, more importantly, foreign intelligence collected on the Al-Qaeda hijackers inside the United States? We don't know about that. But if you don't talk about hijackers and you don't talk about pre-intelligence, well, you don't talk about 9/11. You could stay in ground zero all you want. Talk about building 7, how it came down. You're not going anywhere. 22 years, you haven't gone anywhere. Just like the buildings came down. That's it. That's where you lay. That's the 9/11 truth movement. That's where you are until somebody cleans you up and you're shipped off somewhere, gone forever, right? That's going to be you. And slowly but surely, 9/11 truth movement is just like the World Trade Center steel, right? One by one, they're gone. They made any progress? No. You made a comic book and you made a film. You should be proud of yourselves. Anyway, let's talk about what happened with Abu Zubaydah when he got captured. He's captured in Pakistan during a shootout where John Kiriakou was involved. Later on, Ali Soufan was questioning him. Robert McFadden from the FBI. CIA heard about it. George Tenet complained. Then he was handed over to the CIA. But first, let's talk about how, sorry, let me black that out for a second. Let's talk about the 2014 Senate report, where it says here, FBI officers are the first to question Abu Zubaydah, who states his intentions to cooperate. But Abu Zubaydah is taken to a hospital where he provides information the CIA later describes as important and vital. But later on, they find out that his information wasn't important, it wasn't vital. After Abu Zubaydah was renditioned to detention site Green by March of 2002, he was questioned by special agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, right? So I have to cut that out for a second because there's a lot more there. And I couldn't load it before, but let me go back and try and find that file. Because that's important to read the rest, right? So I got it, and let me share the screen, so bear with me. Who spoke Arabic and had experience interrogating members of Al-Qaeda. Abu Zubaydah confirmed his identity to the FBI officers, informed the FBI officers he wanted to cooperate, and provided background information on his activities. Now, look, he was a trainer at the Khalid training camp. A Khalid training camp was not run by Al-Qaeda. It was actually closed by the Taliban because they were at such odds with Al-Qaeda that the Taliban got involved, closed down the camp in 2001, before the 9/11 attacks. shut it down. It was headed by Ibn Sheikh al-Libi, who was not al-Qaeda. Abu Zubaydah, not al-Qaeda. They may have done work together. But by the way, the Chaldean training camp, just a little bit of historical value. Chaldean training camp was actually created during the Soviet-Afghan War, in which the CIA helped to open up this camp indirectly. Funding went through the ISI, the Pakistan ISI, who then worked with Afghan warlords and opened up training camps throughout the Paktia province, which is where this camp was residing, which was located in. That evening, Abu Zubaydah's medical condition deteriorated rapidly and he required immediate hospitalization. He was in a shootout and he almost died. Although Abu Zubaydah was largely unable to communicate because of a breathing tube, he continued to provide information to FBI and CIA officials at the hospital using an Arabic alphabet chart. According to records, the FBI officers remained at Abu Zubaydah's bedside throughout his ordeal and assisted in his medical care. When Abu Zubaydah's breathing tube was removed on April 8, 2002, Abu Zubaydah provided additional intelligence and reiterated his intention to cooperate. There's no need to subject him to torture. Here you have a willing cooperative detainee. During an April 10, 2002 debriefing session conducted in the hospital's intensive care unit, Abu Zubaydah revealed to the FBI officers that an individual named Mukhtar, that's Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, was the al-Qaeda mastermind 9/11 attacks. Abu Zubaydah identified a picture of Mukhtar provided by the FBI, Ali Soufan, from the FBI's most wanted list. The picture was of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who had been indicted in his 1996 for his role with Ramzi Yousef's terror plotting to detonate explosives on 12 U.S. flagged aircraft and destroy them over mid-flight or Pacific Ocean, which is where the 9/11 attacks came from, called the Bajenka plot. Abu Zubaydah told the interrogators that Mukhtar was related to Ramzi Yousef, whom Abu Zubaydah said was in an American jail. Yousef had been convicted for his aforementioned terrorist plotting, was involved in the 1993 World Trade Center terrorist attack. Abu Zubaydah told the FBI officers that Mukhtar trained the 9/11 hijackers and also provided additional information on Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's background, to include that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed spoke fluent English, was approximately 34 years old, and was responsible for al-Qaeda operations outside of Afghanistan. Again, proof that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was the mastermind 9/11. Why? Abu Zubaydah was not tortured up until this time. He provided this information to the FBI, to the CIA. I don't even need Abu Zubaydah to testify. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and Ramzi bin al-Shibh actually told an Al Jazeera reporter, Yoshi Fruda, who wrote a book, Masterminds of 9/11, with Nick Fielding, who I've interviewed. Basically, when they talked about Yoshi Fruda meeting these two guys before they were captured, and they admitted that they were involved with the planning of 9/11. Subsequent representations on the success of the CIA's detention and interrogation program consistently describe Abu Zubaydah's identification of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's role in the September 11, 2001 attacks, as well as his identification of KSM's alias Mukhtar as being important and vital information. A review of CIA records found that this information was corroborative of information already in CIA databases. Not surprising. Why? Why? Because the CIA had known about Khalid Sheikh Mohammed since the mid-90s, didn't tell the FBI that, didn't tell anybody at the State Department that, didn't share that with any agency. They hoarded the information, just like the NSA hoards the information regarding what they heard on bin Laden's satellite phones and what they heard at the Al-Qaeda communications hub in Yemen. Why'd they do that? Now, take, for example, what did the Israelis gather regarding living next to 9/11 hijackers in the year 2000, 2001? What did the Saudis collect in terms of living with and providing financial and logistical aid to Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hadwi out west, right? We don't know, because you, in the 9/11 truth movement, don't believe in hijackers. So that means all this information I just provided doesn't mean anything to you. The media ain't covering this. They don't got the balls. All media don't got the guts either. Nobody wants to talk about this. I will, and I will continue to do so, because this is the epicenter of 9/11. Not going to get anywhere using anything else. I'm sorry. But that's it for this video. Of course, any updates whatsoever, even if it's on Christmas Day, I will report to them, to you, without prejudice, without bias. And if I don't have anything, listen, Merry Christmas to you, and happy holidays to everybody, and be safe out there. See you next video.